Why are so many politicians spineless? I mean, for that matter, why are so many people spineless? Come on, people, grow spine. Well, we got at least one Democrat who's willing to not only reject impeachment, but to speak up about it. And he said something that actually breaks my heart. From the Daily Caller, Democratic rep. Some Democrats quietly concerned about impeachment want to move on. Well, come on then. Where are they and why won't they speak up? Props to you, Jeff Van Drew, Democrat from New Jersey. I believe he's relatively close to where I live. But why don't you tell them to speak up and say something? Okay, the insanity over impeachment, and that's what it is. It's insanity. Nonsense, hearsay, and it's all they have. And, maybe we could pass the USMCA. Maybe we could talk about lowering drug prices. Donald Trump was talking about this stuff. Maybe we could actually get something done. But you know what? While it's upsetting, I will say props to Mr. Jeff Van Drew for going on, I believe, on Fox Business and said, none of this. Okay? Let's read this story from the Daily Caller. They say, Democratic New Jersey Rep. Jeff Van Drew said some Democrats are privately concerned about the ongoing impeachment process and want to move on. Speaking to Maria Bartiromo on Fox News, Sunday Morning Features, Van Drew, who along with Minnesota Rep. Colin Peterson, who is one of only two Democrats to vote against formalizing the impeachment inquiry, said the endgame is well known unless something new and amazing emerges to incriminate President Trump. Van Drew told Bartiromo he expects to vote no on eventual impeachment unless there's something new, something we haven't heard, something that really rises to the level of treason or high crime. Bravo! Wow. I don't know exactly where in Jersey this guy is, but I'm glad there's at least look. Either he's a guy who is sensible and smart, or he's well. Actually, you know what? He's sensible, smart, and privileged. I'm sorry, principled. Perhaps he's just pandering for a conservative crowd. I don't think so. I think this is a guy who knows it's a sham and is probably in a similar boat to where I'm at, where we're like, dude, you don't listen. I say it all the time. You don't gotta like the president, man, but this is insanity. Quote, but we don't see that, he said. We see little different variations, hearsay, discussions. Somebody heard something that somebody else said, impeachment. You know that our founding fathers had vigorous debate of whether they would even allow impeachment in the Constitution. You don't disenfranchise voters. Millions upon millions of voters. Voters choose their leaders in America, and we are less than a year away from that election. So we all know it. I'm glad some Democrats are speaking out. The Fox News and Fox Business host then asked Van Drew about any potential concern among his Democratic colleagues. I don't know how other folks will vote, because in all honesty, originally I thought there were going to be a few more. Not that it matters if I'm 1 or 101. I do what I believe is right. But there is some discussion among some of them quietly, privately of concern, certainly. What I'm hearing out in the street with most people is they are tired, they are kind of worn out, they're kind of bored. Most folks, and they want to move on. Unless there's something new and amazing, we know the end game here. So where are they? Where are these Democrats to stand up? You know what? I will spare being too mean, because if you are one of these Democrats, a more moderate Democrat who knows this is insanity, it's absurdity, and it's not helping anybody, you need to stand up. You need to speak out. You need to join Jeff Van Drew and speak on principle about what you believe. I believe him. If he says there are people who are privately concerned, we know it. The moderates were late to the party. They didn't want to get involved in this. They all signed up under the assurances from Nancy Pelosi and the DCCC that polls show they will win if they support impeachment. You know what, man? There are places in this country where there are regular Americans who don't care about this. And we saw the other day, in a video I made, there's a focus group. This organization did a focus group and found most people don't care. And I don't care. I hate even talking about it. But you know what? We're about to get a whole week of more testimony from people who have no idea what they're talking about. There's one guy even, but we'll see, because certainly Republicans have been able to get some of their own bombshells. But you know what the problem is? The left is going to take literally anything they can and stretch it. You know what? They rag on Alex Jones over this, but I got to give it to him, okay? They can take the most absurd hearsay game of telephone and turn it into the biggest and grandest conspiracy of all time. Better than Jones ever could. Well, I'll tell you what, man. When Alex Jones goes on Rogan and he's like, they're setting up cell towers and they're going to mutate your kids into cow hybrids or whatever he says, I'm like, that's just Nobody will believe that. It's entertaining, right? And there's some things that Jones has gotten right, as much as people don't want to admit it. And now they're going to take this out of context to smear me. I mean, Joe Rogan said that Jones was right about Epstein. You know, you could throw that to saying a broken clock is right twice a day, or that Jones's problem is that he'll take a small bit of information and stretch it too much. He'll speculate too much. So here's the main point. I'm not saying this to rag on Jones. I'm saying the Democrats, they go one step beyond that. Like, come on, man. At least when Alex Jones talked about the 5G cell towers and like tumors and stuff, there is a study showing that rats had a higher propensity for tumors around the 5G towers. I think Jones takes it and extrapolates way too far. But look what the Democrats did. You get Alex Jones, who sees a study and then yells about the frogs being turned gay because of atrazine, which is at least a tiny bit based in reality, but still, kind of went too far with it. What do the Democrats do? They say that Bill Taylor heard from his aide, who overheard a phone call with Sondland that Trump mentioned investigations, and Sondland believes that, in his opinion, Trump's opinion is that Ukraine's is more important, the investigations into Biden, than Ukraine, the presidency or whatever. And that somehow becomes a bombshell report of indisputable, clear evidence of wrongdoing, like Cenk Uygur said, or they say that it's directly implicating Trump. Man, Jones didn't even go that far, and he says some kooky stuff. Well, you know what? There's a bit more news in the impeachment stuff, whatever. Because Nancy Pelosi apparently wants Donald Trump to testify, and Trump's response was, I like the idea. I'll say it, man. I would like to see Donald Trump testify. I think it would be great. And I think it would, the problem is they'll put him under oath, and they'll use that, and they'll twist that. So I recognize that. And I think there's a big problem with the left's argument that if Trump has nothing to hide, he should just allow the investigation. Oh, you know what, man? But I would like to see Trump testify outside of politics. I don't care about the left or the right. I'd like to see Trump sit down and be asked some questions. For one, I really do like the transparency. I do think it's more likely than not that while Trump may have acted inappropriately, he may be a bit brash and uncouth. Man, who saw that coming? Who could have expected that from Donald Trump? It doesn't rise to the level of impeachment, nor did he do anything overtly illegal in wanting to investigate known, issues. We've known, the Obama administration has known, the New York Times has known that Hunter Biden and Burisma has been an issue. Should Trump testify? Well, the question of should he testify has to be broken down. Should he testify for the good of America? If it was an honest, good faith testimony, then absolutely. I lean towards, just go for it. Recognizing, however, that the left will use this to smear and defame and pull things out of context. And if they're going to take a story about a guy who's claiming that he heard from a staffer who heard from an ambassador that the ambassador's opinion of Trump's opinion was X, if they're going to turn that into directly implicating Trump, you got to imagine Trump could sneeze and they're going to be like, Trump in violent outburst rages at the Democrat question. Democrat will ask him like, did you do wrongdoing? And Trump will go, excuse me. And they'll say, oh, and they'll show that clip over and over of Trump going, and they'll screenshot his face. I know exactly how the media will play it. So therein lies the bigger question. Is it worth the risk? The answer is probably, for Trump supporters, no. Although I would like to see him testify. I'll tell you what, man. The left says Trump's got nothing to hide, so he should testify. You know what? I'm going to agree with that statement. I think it was Wolf Blitzer. All right, Wolf, I agree. Let's get Donald Trump up there to testify, spill the beans on everything, and then to corroborate or reject what Donald Trump has said, we'll need to get Joe and Hunter Biden up there, as well as Alexandra Chalupa, and bring all these people in. Because I'll tell you what, I'll make it simple for everybody. If Trump broke the law, lock him up. If Hunter Biden broke the law, lock him up. I don't care. I'm not here to play for tribes. I just happen to think that for the most part, we don't have any evidence. And it's probably just Trump saw, look, I think, in my opinion, Trump was personally slighted by the Russiagate stuff for 3 years. He knows about the wrongdoing the Bidens were doing. We've seen sworn statements and affidavits. They're trying to claim it's conspiracy, but at least there's probable cause and it should be investigated. So I'll tell you what, man, I'm not here. If Trump wants to break the law, then he can get impeached, whatever. I don't think we have any evidence to prove that. So fine. But I'll tell you what, let's just operate under the assumption Trump is guilty and so is Biden. Great. Have them all testify in front of Congress, make them all answer the questions, and we can all move on. And then you'll have President Pence. How does that sound? I honestly don't care. I'm just sick and tired of the games. I happen to think that, here, I'll tell you exactly how I feel about this. Donald Trump is boorish, and he is, what's the right word for, he shoots from the knee. You know, he leaps before looking. He just goes for it. He says, I know what I want to do. He does it. And so that sometimes people don't understand what he's doing because he just kind of like, you know, he's all over the place. That doesn't mean he did anything illegal. It means he made a phone call. He asked him a question he probably shouldn't have. He probably should have just said, you know, you guys take care of this, see what you can find. He's got it. We've got an apparatus in the United States, various Justice Department groups, or you know, it can be dealt with. So ultimately, I think Trump is he's just I don't know, brash, right? It's the easy way to put it. But Biden, Hunter Biden, the Obama administration, it looks like there's some real dirt there. So you know what? Put them all up on the stand, right? Make Trump testify. And then the Republicans can respond by saying, great, Hunter Biden. I'll tell you what, man, if they came out and said, oh, Donald Trump will testify if Joe Biden and Hunter Biden testify, I'd be like, yes, please, bring them all up. You know what, man, I am not interested in protecting anybody for any reason. If anybody broke the law, we should know about it. And I think Trump supporters would agree, and I think progressives would as well. I think, you know, this is what's surprising to me. Why aren't progressives being like, yeah, okay, Trump, go investigate the Bidens? As if Cenk Uygur likes Joe Biden. You know what I mean? Like, you're great. We should just let Trump do his thing. And there'll be an election and you can vote him out. Unless, I don't know, progressives don't think they can win. But whatever. We'll see what happens. In the end, Democrats are you know what, man? This dude, this one Democrat, what's his name? I want to make sure I get his name right. Jeff Van Drew, much respect. Absolutely much respect. Because he's coming out and saying no to this. And I hope he's sincere, but I believe it. He's taken a big risk by rejecting the Democrats' position. And it's the right decision, in my opinion. And I've always been more of a Democrat than anything. And, you know, I'll leave it there. I got a couple more segments coming up for you in a few minutes. Stick around. I will see you shortly.